That's all. Okay, that's all. So these are the two beans. So what this means, I'll explain you. Now, in my app.java, so instead of having like this, instead of we creating like this, what you know, if you see this diagram, we defined the configuration, we specified the beans or objects to be created. Okay, we specified now in the XML what objects to be created. And then your app.java is asking your application context or Spring container to create the objects and give it to me. Okay. So how it will ask, you see here, how your app.java will ask. Your app.java will ask in this way. Application context is equal to new class path XML application context of app context.xml. You see. So we are defining a class path. Application context is your interface. Okay, and the class path application XML application context, class path XML application context is the child class of this interface. Now, what I want is, now you see, context dot get bean of and here I'll say share price calculator. This one. And what this share price calculator, which is of type interface is price calculator, right? Right? And this I'll say price calculator. Like this. That's all. Now I'll explain what is happening now. Let me take this program now. So this is the program. And then this is my app context.xml. Okay. Now, what will happen is, now my application is creating this object. Okay, basically, application context is an interface. Application context is an interface. Okay, application context is an interface. Okay, this is an interface. And from this interface, we have now class path XML application context. This is the child class. There are different application contexts. One is class path application context. Suppose we are using this class path XML application context. So this is used when we are using XML. This is used when we are using XML related configuration. I told you there are two ways to define the configuration. One is XML based, another one is Java based. If you're using Java based, I'll tell you there will be one more application context, but Since we are using XML, this will be using class path XML application context. Now, what will happen now? So when this application context is getting created, which is part of your Spring, in that we are specifying this XML file. Where is this XML file? This is the XML file. And this XML file is present where? It is present in the class path only. See, because you have put this file in source main resources folder, you see. So this file is in src main resources folder, which is app context.xml. src main resources app context.xml. Okay. Now in this XML, okay, in this XML file, suppose if this XML is present under resources folder, which is under src main, which is under class path. Now, that's why it is called class path. Okay. Whenever any file is under resources folder, under main resource folder, that means that is in the class path. Okay. Any file under main resources means it is a class path. Okay. So Maven will consider any file under main resources is a class path. I mean, that is in the class path. Okay. Now, what now this application context will do, now it will go one by one. It will read the XML file. So first step, when this line is getting executed. So first step, what is happening is, first step, the application context reads the XML file line by line. Okay, the XML file will contain the bean definitions. Okay, the XML file contains the bean definitions. So if you see here, first it will see this bean. Okay, when it sees it, this bean means what is this bean? This bean is considered as a so this bean is considered as a what is this bean? Bean is nothing but bean in Spring. Bean in Spring is an object, right? Bean means object. Okay. In Spring we call object as bean. We call Java object as bean. Now, what is this ID? Every object that is created will have ID. Okay. It is like this. For example, normally when you create an object in Java, how you do? A is equal to new A, right? What is this small a? This one is a class, right? This one is the class name. And what is this small a? This small a is your object reference. This small a is called object reference. Right? In Spring, this object reference is called bean ID. In Spring, this is called bean ID. Okay. Now, this is your object reference, and this is the class. Now, what Spring will do? Spring internally will create an object. Who will create your application context? The XML file contains the bean definitions. Now, third one, the application context will read. So the application context will read bean definition line by line. Beans definitions line by line. And create beans for each ID. Beans for each ID. When I say beans means objects. See, where are these objects located? Finally, where are these beans stored? In your JVM. In your Java virtual machine, these beans are stored. JVM will have a heap memory, right? So this is your Java virtual machine. In this, you will have a heap memory, right? Where all the objects are stored. So here you have heap memory. In heap memory, first this bean is stored. First this will create this bean. So that means an object with ID. What is ID? This is the ID, right? Share price calculator. So object with this is the ID. I'll put here. Or here on it. Share price calculator. Okay. Share price calculator. Okay, this is the object. Right? Similarly, once after creating this bean, next it will create this one. So this is with other object, new share price calculator. New share price calculator. So your application context will read the bean definition line by line and create beans. When you say beans, objects. Beans means Java objects for each ID. For each object. Now, if you take this example, this bean ID is like your object reference, and this is the class name. Now you see the objects are created in heap memory. That means by the time of completion of this line, that means before it comes to the second line. So by the time of completion of this first line, by the time of completion of first line, what is happening? The objects are created. The objects are beans are created by application context. Okay. Now come to the second line. Now come to the second line. What second line does? Now my application, that is the intention, right? Once beans are created, but now my application will ask this application context or Spring container, give me the required object. Now this app.java is not taking the responsibility of creating the object. This app.java is asking application context, give me that object. or give me that bean. Okay. So what will happen now? So second line. So in the second line, what is happening? Now application context is asking, this is asking in the second line, app.java is asking, give me the bean with ID, share price calculator. App.java is asking, give me the bean. App.java is asking, give me the bean with ID, share price calculator. That means this one. So this bean ID it is asking. That means context.getBean and this ID. That means whatever the ID that you define here. So this ID should match exactly with this. Okay. And what is the class type of this share price? But we can assign that in interface also, right? See, we can create the object of this and assign to an interface, right? This because this is an interface. We have done that one only in this case. Okay. This one interface. So that's why whatever the return type, I'm just putting that interface here. This is the return type actually. Okay. This is the return type. And this I am assigning to a price calculator. Okay. This is an interface. Now when you say price calculator dot calculate tax. Okay. Price calculator dot calculate tax. Okay. Now it will call the share price calculator amount tax, that method. Okay. Now you see, now you run this program now. Now you see, I got 2000. Why? Because share price calculator is returning 2000. Now I don't want share price calculator. I want new share price calculator. So for that, what I'll do, I'll use this bean ID, this bean. So I'll take this and copy here. That's all. Just copy here. So now run as, now I got 5000, you see. Suppose okay, now if I'm using new share price calculator, I'm getting 5000. If I'm using share price calculator, I'll get 2000. So when I use new share price calculator, I'm getting now 5000. When I use share price calculator, I'm getting 2000. Everyone understood this? What we have done? Now, if you see, you might ask now is this loosely coupled? Definitely, right? See, only we're just changing the variable, that's all. See, this variable we can pass even as a dynamically also. But we are not changing this part. We are not changing this part. And this application is not creating your application is not creating the object. It is asking class path XML application context to create. Everyone understood, right? What we have seen? Right. Now, this is your interview questions here. Spring provides two types of containers. Spring provides two types of containers, Bean Factory container, application context container. Bean Factory is a lightweight. Application context is more preferred way and also recommended as it has support for event listeners during Bean lifecycle management. Okay. Now in application context, we have file system XML application context, class path, okay, web XML, See, WebXML will be using, we are not using nowadays WebXML. There is one more called annotation config. Whatever we have used is class path XML. This container loads the definitions of the beans from an XML file and takes the path of XML file from the class path. We have one more XML file system application. This container loads the bean definitions from an XML file and takes the full path of XML file into the constructor argument. See, what do you mean by this is, I'll tell you. Now you see, file system XML application context is like, say for example, now first class path XML means this container loads the definitions of the beans from an XML file and take the path of the XML from the class path. See, if you see in our project structure, if you see from the project structure, where is your app context.xml? This is under source resources. So any file under this, any file under SRC resources, any file under SRC resources is considered to be under class path. So that means whenever we use now this like this, whenever we use like this, whenever we use like this, whenever we use like this, now this class path XML application context, I'm passing this directly this app context. I'm not passing any directory path or folder path here. So when I pass directly, when I say class path means directly this will search, this will expect, this will expect app context.xml under SRC main resources folder. This will expect app context.xml under SRC main resources folder. Suppose just 1 minute. Okay. So suppose for example, we are using this file system XML application context. So I should give the complete path. That means, for example, I give like this application context, is equal to new file system application context of, I'll give the complete path like src main somewhere, some properties slash app context.xml. I'll give the complete path here. That means the complete directory path I give when I use file system application. File system, file system XML application context. Okay. The shortcut is not this one. File system. Here XML is missing. File system XML application context. Right? It's fine. So this is what. Okay. So when you say full path, you have to specify the complete path, and this path can be any path. It need not be under resources. It can be in any path actually. Okay. In class path, you don't need to specify the path, just to specify the file name. Automatically, this class path means it will search under this folder only. It will search under this folder only. src main resources, it will search under this folder. Okay. So this is the difference. Everyone understood? What is the difference between class path XML application context and file system application context? Okay, this is one interview question. Another interview question is difference between bean factory and application context. Okay, both are Spring containers. Both are Spring containers. What are Spring containers? Spring containers creates the objects, manages the objects, do the dependency injection, everything. I did not tell you dependency injection. Spring containers means it does IOC and DA. IOC you know already. Okay, complete creation of the objects, managing the objects. Okay, Spring containers, both are Spring containers which does this. But if you remember, we already started using this application context. Then what is Bean Factory? Actually, Bean Factory is a lightweight. It doesn't have that many features. Bean Factory. I told you that factory class, which is used to create the beans. The same here also. Bean Factory is a lightweight Spring container that creates the objects. It doesn't support like, okay, it does not support like listeners. It does not support listeners. I'll tell you what are these listeners. When object is created or destroyed, all this. So that means, for example, whenever an object is getting created, okay, whenever an object or bean, I'll say not object, bean is created, okay, you should have a listener. There should be a component called listener, okay, that will be listening on this event. That means whenever bean is created, this listener should do some action. Okay. This listener is listening on this. This is called event actually. We call this as an event. And whenever an event is happening, this listener should process this event, something like that. For example, whenever bean is created, okay, in listener we can write a logic. We can write a logic like like uh, like inserting some. I'm just giving an example. Okay, we can write logic like uh, we can write like inserting some data in database, something like this. Okay, or we can also write like logic like sending an email. Okay, these are all listeners. Similarly, whenever a bean is destroyed, whenever a bean is destroyed, okay, this is also an event actually. Okay, this also can be considered as an event. And we can have a listener, and we can have a listener that listens on this event. We can have a listener that listens on this event. And whenever bean is destroyed, we can have a logic like, we can have a logic like closing the database connections, something like this. Okay. And who creates the bean, who destroys the bean? It is the application context, right? Application context or bean factory. Either of these, they create the beans, they destroy the beans. But if you use application context, you can configure the listeners like this. But bean factory does not support listeners. So application context supports listeners. But a bean factory does not support. Okay. Okay. So this is very important interview question. So what is the difference between factory and? So two interview questions you have. What is the difference between file system XML application context and class path XML context? Okay, this is the one difference. And what's another difference? Difference between bean factory and application context. Difference between application context. So difference between file system application context and class path XML application. Next, what is another one? Difference between bean factory and application context. Right? See, this is your Google Classroom link. Take down this. Just 1 minute. Huh? Okay. So these are your, so this is your Google Classroom. Okay. All right. So anyone, any doubts till now here? How everyone has got the Google Classroom link? Just now I sent. Just now I sent. Everyone has got the Google Classroom link. Okay, take that. I'll be uploading the notes here. Okay. From which program I copied the XML. This is actually part of documentation. That's all. Just copy this. See, no need to remember. See, if you have this already one program, same thing you copy in every XML. Only you have to type these parts on. All right. From where I did the copy? Because I have so many programs, right? I have written so many programs. From there I copied here. Okay. Everyone understood this flow, whatever I told? Whatever I told this. If you follow these steps. Very good. Yeah, I happy that most of the people understood. Okay. Yeah. All right then. Why I have written package com dot? It is only just com dot means just standard like an organization. Com means company. Okay. Even you can give your name also. Nothing will happen. Why bean factory not provided means we should ask Spring only. We should ask Spring team only why they did not provide it. See these XML tags, what to explain? No need to explain. Just you no need to understand this. This is just a schema location. Okay, just Spring beans. Okay, you just copy paste this. No need to. Don't remember this. Focus only on these parts. Okay. All right then. We'll see a few more examples. Okay, let me create one more project. Spring Core Demo 2. Let me create one more project, file new, Maven project. Now I'll create one more project now. Quick start. See, I'm selecting quick start now. Quick start, click on next. Select group ID. Give core demo 2. Okay. You can give the group ID artifacted as this one. Com dot spring core demo 2. Click on finish. Click on finish. Okay. Now whatever in pom.xml, you add this dependency. You add this dependency in this pom.xml. Right? And here what you have to do is, here you have to create a class called, we'll see one more example here. Now we'll say employee, simple class. And in this employee, we'll say, what are the properties of an employee? Employee ID. Next, the employee name. Okay. That's all. Let us have these two properties. Okay. So, how many of you studied about OOPS concepts in core Java? How many of you know encapsulation? How many of you know encapsulation in OOPS concepts? Right? What does encapsulation tells? What does encapsulation tells? The properties should be private. Okay, these are the properties. And the methods should be public. For every property, there is one get property and set property. Remember, get property is used to read the value from the property. Okay, these are the properties which are private. And for every property, there is one method for reading the property value, which is called get property, and another method for writing the property value, which is called set property. Right? Which is for writing the property value. Right? So this is what, so these are the private properties. Now we should have public methods. So methods should be public. Methods should be public. Okay? Methods should be public. So now these are the two properties. I'll also say private string phone number, employee phone number. Or I'll say like this, phone number. Okay. Now, so I'll just select these properties. It is very easy in Eclipse. It is very easy in Eclipse to generate set and get methods. Okay. You don't need to type separately. So just select this, right click on this, click on source, go to your generate getters and setters. Go to your generate getters and setters, click on this. Now select all these three. Now click on generate. Now you see you have these methods. get method, set method, get method, set method. See, get employee ID, set employee ID, get employee name, set employee name, get phone number, set phone number. Okay, we'll have this. That's all. So we'll have employee ID, employee name, phone number. We'll have get employee ID, set employee. Okay, get employee name, set employee. For each property, there are two methods. One for writing the value and another for reading the value. Why can anyone can tell why we have this kind of structure? Why encapsulation tells this kind of structure? Can anyone can tell why encapsulation tells that these properties should be private, methods should be public? So when you say security purpose, what is the security purpose? How it is used? What is the security purpose? Okay, I'll tell you one example. Okay. Now let us take the same thing. Assume that if these are not private, these are made public. Okay. Assume that these are private, right? Now suppose if you have public like this. Public string employee ID. Public string employee name. Public string phone number. Like this. Okay. We have the public properties like this. Now, what will happen is, now public means anyone can access from outside class. That means anyone can access. Like, for example, some third party. Say hacker. Hacker will hack this class. How will hack? So employee will create an object of this. Right? And then he can access these properties, right? He can access these properties directly because these are public. So how he access? emp dot phone number, sorry, employee dot phone number is equal to, he can give any garbage number like this. Right? Ideally, this is wrong, right? Phone number will not be in this way. It will be in numbers only, right? It will be in long digits numbers. So he can write like this, because we are giving this as a public property. A hacker, now say this is phone number. Imagine that you have a bank account. You have a bank account and he can make the balance 0. Okay. Suppose I have like this. Public class bank account. Okay. Okay, then I'll have like this. Public. Okay, string account number. Next, public. Okay, double balance, something like this. Okay. Now, the same hacker, just like how he corrupted this phone number, he will corrupt this balance also. How? Now again, public class hacker. Then I'll say employee. EMP is equal to new employee. Sorry, yeah, not EMP, sorry, bank account. Sorry. Bank account. Bank account. ACCT equal to new bank account. Right? And then account dot balance. Since it's a public property, he can make this as 0. Okay? He can make this 0 or he can make -12, negative also. Generally, balance will not be negative, right? So like this, he can make. Since the properties are directly are public, this hacker can do anything. Now, if you have encapsulation, what it tells is, so hacker can corrupt this data. This is a security issue. This is a security phone number he's corrupting. Balance also is corrupting the properties. So it is a security issue. Now what encapsulation will tell you, see, suppose now the same thing now, I have now bank account now. Let us take like this. Public class bank account. And now I'll put private actually. So private string account ID. And then I'll say private. So private, I'll say double balance amount, right? Now for every private, I'll have now public methods. Public void set account ID of string account ID. Now I'll say this dot account ID is equal to account ID. Then I'll say public, okay, double, string get account ID. And I'll return this account ID value. Now let us say like this. Now I'll have like this, public void set balance amount of double balance amount. And here I'll say this dot balance amount is equal to balance amount. And here I'll say public public double get the balance amount. So return balance amount like this. So just make 11. Now it's now a hacker now what he will do? A hacker now he will create one hacker class. Now, okay, there is a main method here. And I'll say bank account is equal to new bank account. And he will not be able to access, these properties because these are private. but he'll be able to access these methods. So what he'll do is he'll call this set method. Set method means writing. We call this set method to write a value to this property. Okay, to write a value to this property. And we call get method to read the value. Now what he will do is he'll say bank account dot set balance account or set balance amount of, okay, he will put 0. Now what it will do? Now this will go here. This amount will be this, whatever this 0. So this will be set here. And this dot means this property. This property is equal to 0. Now, you know what we can do? The advantage of this is here we can write a condition before this line. Before this line, we write a condition like this. What we write? If balance amount greater than or equal to 0 only, we'll write this condition. That means in this method, we write this condition first. Once this condition is passed only, even not greater, only not equal to, only greater than 0. Only greater than 0. Only greater than 0. Only if this condition is passed, only if this condition is passed, then this property is set. Okay? Only if this condition is passed. That means even if a hacker passes 0 also, 0 greater than 0, no. That means this value is not set. That means before this line, that means we'll have a line, we have a logic like this in this method. So public void set balance amount of double balance amount. Here I'll say if balance amount greater than 0 only, then we will say this dot balance amount is equal to balance amount. Okay. So public void set balance amount of double balance amount. If balance amount greater than 0 only, this dot balance amount equal to balance. So now what will happen now? Even if hacker tries to put 0, this condition, in this method will have this. That is the reason. That is if, okay, even if you put 0, this condition will be false. So this will not get altered. So that is the reason these methods are like protectors to these properties. So these methods are protectors. So these methods are protectors to these properties. That is the reason encapsulation tells that in method we can have the logic, any kind of logic. We can restrict, we can put if else conditions, and we can restrict the hacker to not to change the value. Okay, but if you expose the properties as public, here we cannot handle any condition here. Here we cannot handle any conditions. But in the methods, we can handle the conditions like this. So that is the reason methods should be public and property should be private. And these methods are protectors to these properties. Okay. See, it is not like you should put only if balance amount greater than 0. Okay. So see, it is not like balance amount greater. You can have any condition. Okay. So you can track like this. So for example, okay, set a balance amount. Okay, if hacker has to hack this method, so he has to get login to this method. So login means, yeah, this method should capture the login ID. Okay, we can handle so many if conditions here, like if the login ID is proper. Okay, everything, and then only we'll allow here actually. So like that, these methods will have the logic of protecting the properties. Okay, this method will have the logic of protecting the properties. Okay. So methods will have the logic of protecting the properties. Finally, okay. Here I put a simple condition like balance amount greater than 0. But in real scenarios, you can handle multiple conditions to protect your method, to protect your properties. If you use final, then no one can write, right? If you make final means here, then even not only hacker, a genuine person also cannot do, right? Suppose you are doing a transaction. Balance amount has to be changed, because balance amount is not final value. It keeps on changing. So that's why don't use final here. Okay. All right then. So, okay, fine then. So tomorrow we'll continue. All right then. Now you understood, right? Why methods are private and methods are public? Because we can write any logic here to protect our properties. All right then. So see you tomorrow then, huh? I'll upload this classroom notes, everything tomorrow. Okay then, huh? Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you everyone.